Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Chef Vic Cuisine. Today we're making paella. Now I was first introduced to this dish when I made a trip to Barcelona as Spain's national dish, in particular the Valencia region. Now this is one epic rice dish. Paella is a combination of surf and turf with rice infused with so many aromatic seasonings. And so without further ado, let's get started.
Alright, let's dive right into this recipe. One of the best things about paella is that it's basically a bunch of prep work and you're cooking everything in one single pan. And so the beginning of this recipe is prepping all those ingredients for cooking. Starting off, we're going to need 4 boneless, skinless chicken thighs, and we're going to remove the excess fat from those thighs using a pair of kitchen shears. And once we've done that, you want to go ahead and dice up your chicken into smaller pieces to easily spread it amongst the pan later on in the recipe. And before moving on to the next ingredient, you want to season the chicken with a thin layer of salt and black pepper on both sides of all the pieces and press that seasoning into the meat. Moving on, we're going to need 3 to 4 garlic cloves. So taking a fresh bundle of garlic, you want to open that up and take about 3 to 4 cloves of garlic and remove those outer peels for use later on once we start cooking. Next up, we need 1 medium-sized yellow onion, and we're going to dice that first by removing the root and the stem from the onion, slicing it in half, and then creating long, thin slices across the width of the onions, and then doubling back and dicing those into small, bite-sized pieces. Next up, we're going to need 1 red bell pepper, and a trick to dicing this really easily is to cut off the root and the stem of the pepper, create a slice along one of the sides of the pepper, and then work your way around the inner membrane by detaching that from the rest of the pepper. And once that's done, you can take your knife and dice up the pepper into small bite-sized pieces. And don't forget to dice up the root and the stem portions of the pepper as well. We're also going to need 3 Roma tomatoes, finely diced. So you want to take a large chef's knife and dice those into small bite-sized pieces. And always make sure you have a firm grip on the tomatoes when you're slicing, as they tend to be very slippery.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to drop in real quick to say I appreciate all your support by watching the video thus far. And what will really help me out is if you hit that like button too. It helps boost this video's performance on YouTube so that more people can see this recipe. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you click that subscribe button too, and make sure you also tap that bell icon to be notified when my next video drops. And stay tuned until the end of this video for a sneak peek of the recipe coming next week.
Moving on to the seafood portion, we're going to need about 8 ounces worth of calamari, which depending on the size will end up with either 7 to 8 pieces that we're going to thinly slice into tubes. And before slicing them, you want to make sure you rinse the calamari under cool running water and pat them dry. And once they're thinly sliced, you want to season them with a very thin sprinkling of salt and black pepper on both sides. Once the calamari is sliced, you can set that aside while we prepare half a pound of large or colossal shrimp that you want deveined and the shells removed, but you want to keep the tails on. And half a pound at that size will be approximately 6 to 7 pieces of shrimp. And so you want to rinse your shrimp under cool running water and then pat them dry. And you want to season each shrimp with a thin sprinkling of salt and black pepper on both sides of all the shrimp. Now with all the ingredients prepped, let the fun begin. In a paella pan, if you have one, or a large 12-inch in diameter by 2-inch in thickness frying pan, you want to add in a 1/4 cup of olive oil and heat that over medium heat, or 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 176 degrees Celsius. In addition to the olive oil, we want to add in our diced onion, the diced red bell peppers, as well as mincing the garlic cloves. Saute all these vegetables together for 7 to 8 minutes, or until the onions are soft and become translucent. Always making sure to stir the pot around so that everything gets an even cook. Next up, we want to add in our diced tomatoes, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 to 2 bay leaves, and a pinch of saffron threads to the pan. Give all these ingredients another quick stir until all of them are well dispersed amongst each other. And add a thin sprinkling of salt and black pepper to the pan as well. And you want to stir and cook these ingredients for about 5 minutes. After those first 5 minutes of cooking, we want to add in a 1/4 cup of white wine, and my favorite to use is a Pinot Grigio, to the pan. You want to allow this all to continue to cook for about 10 minutes until most of that liquid has reduced. And once it has, we want to add in our diced chicken thighs. Following that up with about 2 tablespoons worth of chopped fresh parsley, as well as either 2 cups of Spanish rice or 2 cups of arborio rice. But basically you're looking for a short grain rice in this recipe. Allow this all to cook for 1 minute at first, and after that minute, slowly pour in 3.5 to 4 cups of chicken broth to the pan all around, and move the pan to get the rice into an even layer. And the next step is really important. Once we've reached the point of spreading the chicken broth into the pan, do not stir the pot. We're going to allow this mix to come to a boil, and once it's boiling, you want to reduce the heat to medium-low, or 249 degrees Fahrenheit, or 120 degrees Celsius. And it's at this stage where you want to gently stir the ingredients to ensure that all the chicken is submerged in the broth. Now you can stir this mix once or twice while you allow it to cook for about 15 to 16 minutes uncovered. And after that time, we want to nestle all of our shrimp, followed by the calamari, as well as 1/2 pound or approximately 10 to 12 mussels that are frozen but also have been cleaned properly, beards removed, into the top surface of the paella, and allow these all to cook for 5 minutes. After those 5 minutes, add in 1/2 cup of frozen peas to the pan, evenly dispersed, and don't worry about them being frozen, the peas will cook during the next step. The liquid of the pan should be mostly absorbed into the rice at about 20 minutes after adding the seafood, and once most of the liquid has been absorbed and the top rice is tender, we want to remove the pan from the heat. And as you can notice in this time lapse, the mussels will open throughout the cooking process, as well as the calamari and shrimp will cook through. Once the pan has been removed from the heat, we want to cover it with its lid, or if you don't have a lid, aluminum foil, and allow this to finish cooking off the heat and rest for 10 minutes. For final touches, we want to remove the covering and garnish it with 2 tablespoons of freshly chopped parsley, as well as some lemon slices. And with that, this paella is ready to be served immediately and enjoyed. And just like that, you've made a traditional Spanish paella. I truly love recipes that are one-pan designs, and this dish is a perfect blend of surf and turf, and I have to say, one of my favorite rice dishes ever. A couple more tips I want to give you all in regards to cooking is that you can substitute the chicken for premium rabbit meat or even beef if you want, and you can change the seafood to your favorite options if desired. Another tip, towards the last moments of the cooking process, if your top rice isn't tender yet, you can add an additional 1/4 cup of extra chicken broth and continue to cook it until the rice absorbs the rest of that liquid. But other than that, I really hope you enjoy trying this recipe at home. Each bite of this paella is infused with incredible flavors, and I cannot wait for you all to try this at home. Make sure you let me know down in the comments when you plan on trying this recipe and how it turns out for you. I can't wait to hear back from you all.
As always, this recipe and many more can be found in my cookbook, Chef Vic Cuisine Volume 3, Upgrading Your Inner Chef. And that's available on Amazon, and I'll be sure to leave a link to that in my description box. And feel free to click the pop-up on your screen for more information on that as well. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this recipe, and if you did, make sure to smash that like button for me. It's one of the best ways to help and support this channel. And if you're new to the channel, my name is Victor, and welcome to Chef Vic Cuisine. Here I like to share new recipes each and every week that you can make at home for yourself, your family, or your friends. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure you hit that subscribe button too. And sharing is caring, so if you enjoyed this recipe and think someone else will too, feel free to share this with all your family and friends.
And stay tuned for next week where we make a Caesar salad with a mouth-watering homemade dressing. Well, thank you all so much again for watching. I truly appreciate it. Check out my recipes on my page now. YouTube thinks you'll like this video, so let's see if they're right. And I'll see you next time on another episode of Chef Vic Cuisine. And until then, peace.